Welcome to Impact Makers Radio, featuring industry thought leaders sharing problem-solving insights to help grow your business and live the life you love. And here's your host, Stewart Andrew Alexander.
Hi, Stewart Andrew Alexander here, and on this segment of the show, I have Associate Attorney ELLIOT Solop of Dwyer Bachman Newman, LLC, and ELLIOT is calling in all the way from New Jersey. Now, ELLIOT has a wealth of experience in the area of divorce and matrimonial law, and will be talking to us today about the financial ramifications of divorce and how to prepare for life after your divorce. Now, that sounds very interesting, so let's not keep him waiting any longer and bring him on to the show. With that said, welcome to the show, ELLIOT.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm extremely appreciative of the opportunity, and good afternoon here from Jersey.
In your own words, and ELLIOT, can you briefly describe the people who you serve and the kinds of situations they find themselves in when they eventually come to you for help?
Being a matrimonial attorney, and for the record, I'm admitted in both New Jersey and New York, but primarily practice in New Jersey. I assist really good people during the most difficult time of their lives. So when they come to me, they've already come to the emotional conclusion that they're going to move forward with their lives, and that usually is results in divorce. So I'm really just there to provide legal assistance, emotional assistance, and financial assistance during this emotionally difficult and financially difficult time. And the hardest part generally for people is first connecting with me. As soon as they sit in the office and they realize, the pros and cons of their decision and how they can move forward, I think they usually feel at ease.
Okay, so when you think about the people you help then, ELLIOT, what's the most common misconception out there surrounding the topic of divorce and matrimonial law and being prepared for life after your divorce?
Well, I think there's generally two common misconceptions with, people pursuing divorce. And I think the number one misconception is that people think that the children or the child will suffer. And what they don't realize is that the emotional stress and harm that they're putting their child or children in with, the parties, when I say parties, the husband and wife, not interacting or not cooperating with each other, that's far more detrimental to the children's well-being than, actually living separate and apart. And most children, they want their parents happy. And if that means that they're, not going to be able to wake up, and have breakfast with mom and dad, that's okay, and they'll get over it. So I think that's misconception number one. Misconception number two is that I think most people, when they walk into my office or any divorce attorney's office, they think that, financially they're just not going to be able to live separate and apart from their spouse. The reality is when, they factor in everything, and that could be alimony, child support, equitable distribution. When I say that, the assets and debts that the parties agree to distribute amongst each other, and whatever income they're pulling in from their jobs, they're going to be okay. They're going to be okay. So I think when they meet with me, they come in thinking, hey, it's not going to be possible. There's no way I could financially pull it off. But I think afterwards, and, there's a sense of comfort knowing that they're going to be okay financially. So I believe between the children and their emotional well-being and the financial ramifications of actually moving forward with a divorce are the two common misconceptions that I deal with every day.
Okay, ELLIOT, thanks for sharing that with us. So in terms of results, can you share with us a case study, so to speak, where you've helped someone to overcome one of those obstacles that you just shared with us and were able to produce positive results? Now, obviously, keeping client confidentiality in mind, if you could just quickly share that with us, that would be really useful. Thank you.
Absolutely. And interestingly enough, there was a case that I resolved late yesterday afternoon. I represented the wife, and it just so happened that the wife met with me, I would say approximately a year and a half ago. And she had raised concerns, the two common misconceptions which we discussed, that, what's going to happen with my son? Will, me and my husband be able to, keep him in the marital residence? What about me? If I can't live in the marital residence, will I be able to, afford my own separate and independent life? So she had questions, and certainly she mulled it over because it took her, more than a year to come back to me after our initial session. And the resolution we came with yesterday was, terrific on all ends, not only for my client, but also for the husband, and most importantly for the child. We, agreed to keep the child in the marital residence. So being a 12-year-old, child, he's going to be in the same community with his same friends in the same school district, in the same baseball leagues, football leagues, soccer leagues. So his life, even though his parents are separated and now soon to be divorced officially, his life will remain intact as much as possible. And the fact that, the husband and wife in this situation really have developed a very strong co-parenting relationship, I think right off the top. And for my client going forward, she could have a sense of comfort that that number one misconception about her child suffering will not be the case. And she's certainly in control of that destiny. And then financially, based on the dissolution and agreement as to the assets, she certainly feels comfortable that she's going to be able to provide, a separate independent lifestyle that, she could live comfortably with going forward. So that case in itself really, points every misconception out and proves those misconceptions wrong. So, and like I said, she's a wonderful, wonderful woman with a wonderful child. So I'm happy that it worked out in her favor.
Excellent. So thank you for sharing that case study with us, Elliot. Taking the main topic of the financial ramifications of divorce into mind and being prepared for life after divorce, please share with us a really common unknown pitfall that people might not be aware of, but should really be aware of. If you could share that with us, that would be great. Thank you.
This doesn't seem like a huge issue, but, what happens during these long-term marriages is that, the parties jointly acquire assets, whether it's houses or retirement accounts or cars. And the one thing people don't realize, and this isn't so much legal assistance or legal advice, but you got to watch out for your credit, right? Because if you do want to move forward, you have to make sure your credit is stable and established, and, whether it's renting a condo or purchasing, a house after divorce, that's one of the number one priorities that I tell clients is, okay, well, if you're going to start this divorce process, then get your credit in check. Because most people, unfortunately, at least in the state of New Jersey, they have significant credit card debt, which they're going to have to, clean moving forward post-divorce. So, like I said, that's not really as much legal advice. I'm sure you've had financial advisors on your show that could probably provide significant advice as to that point. But I always tell clients that moving forward, you may not be thinking about it, but it's very important that you start, checking your credit now and trying to repair and build it or establish it as much as you can prior to the divorce being official.
Okay, Elliot. So far, you've shared a lot of great information. You spoke about some of the misconceptions of where people think that the child will always suffer or they won't be able to live financially from a financial point of view without their spouse following a divorce. And you just touched on the very insightful topic of watching out for your credit when you're considering a divorce, something that you may need to speak with a financial advisor about. So having shared these great insights, Elliot, I'm sure for the person listening to you right now, they're probably thinking, who is Elliot? How do we find out more about him? So if you could, in your own words, Elliot, just briefly tell us a little bit about yourself in terms of your background and your education and your experience as it relates to the topic of divorce.
Well, uniquely, and most attorneys don't have the actual life experience, but my parents got separated and got divorced at a very young age. They actually had a 6-year divorce proceeding. They separated when I was in 3rd grade. So, I certainly understand the emotional sensitivities that, surround divorce, even though I've never gone through the divorce process, and obviously I hope I never have to, because it's, a lot of emotional delicacies that are involved. But I could tell you I was there and I saw both my parents struggle, and obviously I had my own struggles throughout my parents' divorce. So from an emotional perspective, I get it. And then from a background perspective, education-wise, I was a finance major in college, which is unique, I think, for most attorneys. Most attorneys go in as a political science or history major, or even an English major, where I have, I would like to think, the background of a different way of thinking than most matrimonial attorneys process thoughts and ideas, at least in this state. So combining the financial background, the emotional background, and obviously my law degree, I also had the great opportunity of clerking for a family court judge here in New Jersey, which really showed me that my assistance as an attorney could really have a significant impact on people's everyday lives. I feel in some way that I'm helping out, the husband, the wife, but most importantly, the children. So I think it all kind of comes together based on every experience I've had.
Okay, Alex, so when you think about the people who come to you, who walk through your door looking for your help, and thinking about the financial ramifications of divorce and how to prepare for life after divorce, what would be your absolute best piece of advice for that person listening to you today?
I would say most importantly, you have to trust your attorneys. You have to trust your counselors, psychological counselors, trust your financial advisors, trust your accountants. But the biggest point is to trust yourself. And if you think it's the right thing to do, then move forward with it.
Okay, so if there's somebody out there, then Elliot, that wants to connect with you, how would they find you?
They could connect with me through my LinkedIn page. Also, our company has a website, dbnlaw.com. And another great resource that potential clients or potential individuals could contact me is Avvo, AVVO.com, and I have my profile linked to Avvo as well.
That's avvo.com, AVVO.com, correct?
Correct.
Elliot, unfortunately, we are out of time, so thank you so much for spending some time with us. I know you're really busy over there. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Elliot Solop. He's certainly the right person to be speaking with if you need help in that direction. And thank you to you, the listener, for joining us on this insightful conversation with one of the top leading associate attorneys in New Jersey today. So again, my name is Stewart Alexander, and we'll be back shortly with some more divorce professionals in this, our series of divorce-related conversations. So until then, take care, have a great day, and we'll talk real soon.
Thank you for tuning in to Impact Makers Radio. To listen to all past, present, and future industry thought leaders and trendsetters, visit us at impactmakersradio.com.